Well, hello there. My name is Amber. I hope you're enjoying a fantastic day today. I'm feeling completely inspired to recirculate a tag about accents that went around several years ago, and that is because I was sitting at Chick-fil-A this morning with a bunch of friends from my mom's group, and we were talking about how we say things a little bit differently here in Texas because we recently had some moms join that are moving in from other states, and even one that is all the way from Aberdeen, Scotland. So trying to explain how we do things and say things in Texas has been fun and challenging because it's so different from whatever, she has experienced in the UK. And so I thought it would be fun because we are a diverse community here on YouTube, especially in the beauty community. So I tag each and every one of you to film this video. There are a bunch of words. We want to see how you say them. And then some just everyday expressions that you use with your friends and family, how you might say them differently in other parts of the country and across the world. Because I know, I am from Texas. I have a twang. It becomes more pronounced when, I'm around people that have Southern accents because, I've lived all over the country and I've lived overseas, and so I don't have as much of a twang, but I notice it's becoming a little bit more obvious the longer that we're back in Texas. So, but even within Texas, it's not just like a Southern dialect because, I live in Houston and we are geographically considered East Texas, but we are not East Texans. East Texans is like Northeast, like Dallas, Tyler, all that. And so, the way they say things versus how we say things in Houston versus how you say things in the hill country, like San Antonio, Austin, and then going further west can be a little bit different, even just within our own state. So, bunch of words, bunch of phrases. Here goes. Garage. Herb. Mexican. You have an accent if you drop the I. Schedule. Figure. Water. Leisure. Salmon. Fire. Ruin. New Orleans. I live around a bunch of people from Louisiana, and I know they call it speaking yat, and some of them will say New Orleans or Nolans, but I say New Orleans. Spitting image. Probably or probably. Coupon. Ant. Roof. Syrup. Caramel. Cauliflower. Creek. Mayonnaise. Survive. Well, and that's survive. And then I know, when I was in Oklahoma, we lived there long enough. Most of the people there say survive. Survive. I notice I say survive. Lawyer. Monday. If you were old school Texan, I know a lot of my older relatives say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That's old school. Pajamas. Mosquitos or skeeters. I don't say skeeters, I say mosquitos. Route or route. It depends on what you're referring to. If you go to Sonic and you order an extra large drink, you order a Route 44. But if you're driving along somewhere and you're following a road, you say route. Then Almond, grocery store, or you just say the store. And then mayor. We don't say mayor, it's just mayor. And then as far as unique to Texas, this is something we had to explain to my friend this morning from Scotland. We have this huge convenience store chain that has sprung out of nowhere, super popular, everybody's into it. It is called Buc-ee's, and they have a beaver as their mascot, and so people will clamor for t-shirts with beavers on them that have Buc-ee's, and you're driving along the highway and you'll see signs for Buc-ee's stops long before you're ever even close to the town or the city that it's in, because I know there's one on the way to Dallas. When we leave Houston to go west more towards San Antonio, there's one in Luling. I'm sure there's a couple others, but they're gigantic gas stations. And then if you want to go to the grocery store, you go to H-E-B, or the Heeb, as we like to call it. If you want to go get a burger, you might go to some place like Whataburger. Some people say Whataburger. They're known for their sauces on their hamburgers, and they're supposed to be like, I'm not really into them, but they're like super greasy, super good if that's what you're into. And then when you can find it, I know something that creates a lot of childhood memories for me is Big Red. And if you go to Jack's Burgers in Houston, you can get Big Red still. It's kind of like, it's a really intensely red soda, kind of like, it tastes like a cream soda mixed with bubble gum to me. I don't know if that's the actual legitimate flavor of it, but that's always what I think of when I drink Big Red. And then like some colloquial expressions that we talk about, like what do you call a carbonated drink? A Coke, just in general, and then you can specify Dr. Pepper, Sprite, Fanta. Number 2, what is a spider with an oval body and long legs? That is a daddy long legs. Number 3, what do you call a mini lobster that lives in a lake or a stream? Kind of like a shrimp, I guess, or mini lobster. I call them crawfish, but like I said, I live in Houston. There's a lot of people from Louisiana, so they say crawdad. Number 4, what do you call gym shoes? Tennis shoes, or sneakers occasionally, but tennis shoes. And I dropped the S, tennis shoes. Number 5, what do you call the bug that balls up when you touch it? Roly-poly or pill bug. Number 6, what do you use to put your food in at the grocery store? I call it a cart, but I know what you mean if you say buggy. And when you're ready to pay, you go to the register. You don't say cashier, cash register, you say register, and you drop the I in the middle of it. Number 7, how do you refer to something that is diagonally across from you? We say it's catty corner. Number 8, what do you call a big road that you drive relatively fast on? We call it a freeway. Number 9, what do you call the gunk in the corners of your eyes? That's eye goop. Number 10, what do you call an easy class? A blow off. Number 11, what is the small road relative to the highway? I've always grown up with them being access roads, so if you don't like driving on the interstate, you can drive on the access roads in Texas. In Houston, I have learned they are called feeder roads, so that's taken a little bit of getting used to for me. And number 12, we were talking about popular kids activities and things like something that was new to me when we moved to Houston, relatively new to me. It's called mutton bustin'. And that's basically like mutton is the general word for like lamb meat. And so mutton, M-U-T-T-O-N, is now M-U-T-T-I-N, mutton bustin'. It's basically when you put a kid on a small sheep or a lamb and they bull ride, if you will. They try to stay on there as long as they can. Or if you go toilet paper in somebody's house, we call it TPing. I know some people call it rolling that live in Georgia, South Carolina, Florida, Mississippi, Alabama, and all that. It was TPing. Or if you wanted to go out and do donuts in the middle of the field and get your vehicle all trashed out with mud, we called it mudding. That was real popular when I was in school. Or you could also go cow tipping. I know a lot of people are familiar with that. That's basically when you go out to somebody's property in the middle of the night and try to tip their cows over. Not very nice. So, and then I wanted to talk about a couple of things too, of things that we say, like there's the typical Southern phrase fixin' to or fixing to. I say fixin' to for just about anything, or I'm gonna go to the store. We don't say I'm going to the grocery store. I'm gonna go to the store. I'm fixing to go to the store. If you go to a drive-through convenience store, because those are popular. Like if you want to pick up beer before you go float the river, you go through a brew-through. Yeah, only in Texas, right? And then if somebody is being just really bratty, you say they're being a toot. If you're old school Texan, all right, trying to think of some other things. Like I have a lot of relatives that are old school, like South Texans, and like when they refer to San Antonio, they'll say Santonia. I know that's like a popular one. Or if you're talking to your child and you're disciplining them, like if your daughter in particular, you'll say no ma'am, like don't do that. And you'll say that to your friends, like no ma'am, like absolutely not. Or if, you know, somebody is wearing a really bad outfit, you call it a get up. Like, what are you doing in that get up? Or another one I'm trying to think that we use is like, this is one that my friend Lindsay pointed out to me, and she's from elsewhere in the country, I believe, like Colorado or somewhere. And she was like, one of the things I noticed y'all say is if somebody is going to do something reckless or if they might be injured in it, you say, you're going to bust your head open. And I was like, you know what? We do say that all the time. Like, you're going to fall and bust your head open, or you're going to bust your head open. That's like our generic phrase for anything of be careful, watch out, or don't do that. And then I was trying to think, like if you're saying hello to somebody, like one of your friends, you might say, hey girl, or something I've noticed that is more common when I was in Oklahoma, and I heard it in northern Texas, like with a lot of my friends from Dallas, they'll say like, hey woman, like, and you say woman, like you kind of drag it out a little bit, so saying hey girl, or catch you later woman. And then I was trying to think of some other ones that we say, like days of the week. If you're old school, you say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but like when I talk to my relatives, a lot of them will say Monday. If you go to the pool and you're around a bunch of boys, you say they're wearing swimming trunks. You don't say swimsuit, swimming trunks. If somebody's doing something crazy, you say off their rocker. Yeah, that's like, I don't know, just little things like that. So I thought that this was a lot of fun. I can't wait to hear your answers, because I know a lot of you, like if you're from Pennsylvania, if you're from Canada, if you're from just like the DC area, because I know like my husband, he's developed more of an accent now, but he grew up in the DC area, so it's kind of like, it's really interesting to hear how people say things. And like I said, like I know I have an accent, I realize that, but it gets much twangier when I'm around other people that speak the same way, because I noticed even like in my YouTube videos, you hear it, but it's not as pronounced as when if I'm talking to somebody and I say, y'all come back now here, you know what I mean. So that's about it for now. Oh, I have to remember, like, if you're gonna go get your hair done, you say you're going to the hairdresser, not you're going to the salon, or you go to the hairdresser. Yeah, so I think that's about it. So have a lot of fun with this. I'm looking forward to your videos, and I'll be seeing you very, very soon. Bye.